I'm standing at Aliki, near the south end of the Greek island of Thasos. For more than 1,000 years, this is one of the most important marble quarries anywhere in the classical world. The marble of Thasos was famous for its pure white color and light veins of gray. Quarrymen working with wedges and chisels cut out everything from great blocks for sarcophagi to long columns destined for the monuments of Rome. You see, in front of us here, a huge column that was found imperfect and left on site. Another maimed column is here beside us, buried by the rubble of later quarrying. Though opened in the Archaic period, the quarries of Thasos were busiest in the Roman imperial era, when emperors would order dozens of columns on this scale at a time, and even private baths, if we can believe Seneca, were lined with marble from Thasos. You can see the cracks that made this column unusable. This was the heart of the Roman-era quarry. The line of rocks that runs from the left of your screen up to the middle distance marks the perimeter of a vanished peninsula that was cut away between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD. About 250,000 cubic meters of stone. It was all cut down to sea level, and if you look below the surface here, you can see where individual blocks were prized up. Behind me, you can see a similar pattern of stippling, where blocks were taken up from the native stone. All of this marble was loaded into barges that were waiting by the seaside. If the sea were a bit less rough, I'd walk forward a bit and try to show you where the derricks were placed that loaded blocks onto the barges. But the sea being what it is, I'll stay right here and describe them to you, if you can hear me over this ridiculous wind. The derricks were like the man-powered treadmill cranes you see on Roman construction reliefs. They could load even the largest blocks and column drums onto barges, and those barges would go right from here to Rome. After getting thoroughly soaked by a rogue wave, I moved here, where the waves are a bit more manageable. Here's the area that was quarried flat by the Romans. But here we have a bit of peninsula that's still above water, where you can see how blocks were taken away. The key in quarrying marble with ancient hand tools is to follow the grain. Marble is a metamorphic rock, meaning that it's rock that's been transformed by intense heat and pressure deep in the Earth's crust. But it's metamorphosed from a sedimentary rock, limestone, which has strata. These tend to be preserved in marble to the extent that marble still has a grain, lines of fracture, which ancient quarrymen could follow with their wedges and chisels and take blocks with relative ease. You can see here on this slope, where the grain, the run of the marble is uphill, how ancient quarrymen have taken away a whole series of blocks, going row by row with their hand tools. To save on transport costs, it was customary to roughly shape blocks and columns in the quarry. You can see a series of blocks that were rejected for various reasons in situ here. Once all that marble was loaded, it had to be brought to its destination, whether that was Athens or Rome or Constantinople. And that meant a long and often hazardous voyage. So it was that the ship owners responsible for this transport often prayed here, at this sanctuary of Castor and Pollux just beside the quarries. It dates back to the Archaic period and survived for at least 1,000 years, gradually filling with dedications like this one, offering praise to the gods in thanks for Euplea, a good voyage. By the 2nd century, virtually every marble quarry in the Roman Empire was owned by the emperors. The actual process of extraction and transport was usually in private hands, but the fact that the emperors saw fit to take possession of quarries scattered across their whole vast domains conveys, like the scale of this quarry, how much marble meant in the economy of ancient Rome.